In 1900, deep in the forests of West Africa, a queen stood before her people and uttered by words that would echo for generations. If the men will not fight, then we, the women, will. I shall call upon my fellow women, and we will fight the white men until the last of us falls in the battlefield. This was not just a queen. This was Yaa Asantewaa, the woman who dared to defy the mighty British Empire. But how did a queen mother, armed with wisdom and courage, outsmart one of the greatest empires the world has ever known?
My people, the time has come for us to rise. We will fight for our land, for our freedom.
And why did the British fear a single stool so much that they went to war for it? Today we uncover the hidden history of the queen who outsmarted an empire, and the war that shook the Ashanti kingdom. Now let's dive in. Before the clash with Britain, the Ashanti Empire was no ordinary kingdom. It was a land of gold, power, and unity, a civilization feared and respected across West Africa. At the heart of this empire stood a sacred symbol, the Golden Stool. Legend says it descended from the heavens, carrying the very soul of the Ashanti people. To touch it, to even demand it, was not just an insult, it was war. The Ashanti armies, fierce and disciplined, were unmatched. They rode into battle with muskets, drums pounding, and a reputation that struck fear into rival kingdoms. Their wealth from the gold trade made Kumasi, the Ashanti capital, one of the richest cities in Africa. This was the world Yaa Asantewaa was born into, a world where power was measured in loyalty, bravery, and the protection of tradition. But when the British arrived, they weren't interested in tradition. They wanted control, and that sacred stool became their target. 1900. The Ashanti kingdom stood proud, their spirit unbroken despite decades of tension with the British. But then came the insult that shook the empire to its core. The British governor, Frederick Hodgson, rode into Kumasi with a message that would ignite fire across the land. Standing before Ashanti chiefs, he declared, "Where is this golden stool I have heard so much about? Why am I not sitting on it now? I am the governor, the representative of the Queen of England. I should sit upon the golden stool." The chiefs sat in stunned silence. To the Ashanti, the golden stool was not just a throne. It was sacred, the very soul of their people. No man, not even an Ashanti king, sat on it. It was untouchable, divine. And now a foreigner dared to demand it. The silence in the council that day was heavy, anger boiling under calm faces. Every warrior knew this was not just arrogance, this was war declared through words. But while the chiefs hesitated, weighing the danger of open defiance, one woman was already preparing to rise. The chiefs debated in silence, torn between fear and pride. The British were powerful, their guns were endless. But to surrender the golden stool? That would mean surrendering the very soul of the Ashanti. And then, she rose. Yaa Asantewaa, the Queen Mother of Ejisu, a woman in a world of men. Her voice cut through the silence like a blade. She turned to the chiefs and declared, "How can you men, the bravest of our nation, sit back and allow the white man to demand our golden stool? If you will not fight, then I shall."
If you will not fight, then I shall.
"I shall call upon my fellow women, and together we will fight the white man till the last drop of our blood." Gasps filled the chamber. This was no ordinary speech. It was a challenge, a dare to the men who had grown cautious under British pressure. In that moment, something shifted. Fear turned into fire, hesitation into resolve. The Ashanti had found their leader, and it was not a king, but a queen. The words of Yaa Asantewaa spread like wildfire across Ashanti lands. From village to village, warriors gathered. Men sharpened swords, women carried food, water, and even weapons. The Golden Stool would not be surrendered. It would be defended to the death. In March 1900, the Ashanti struck first. The war drums thundered through the forests, echoing across valleys and rivers. Warriors, painted in red and black, emerged from the trees with muskets, spears, and unmatched courage. When the British marched confidently into Ashanti territory, expecting submission, they were met with gunfire from the shadows. Ambushes tore through their ranks. The forest itself seemed to fight against them. To the British, this was supposed to be a show of power. Instead, it became a nightmare. Every path, every village, every clearing, danger lurked. And at the center of it all, unseen but ever present, was Yaa Asantewaa, the queen who had ignited the flame. The Ashanti had tasted victory in the forests, but the true test came when the war thundered into the heart of Kumasi. The British, enraged by ambush after ambush, fortified themselves inside the Kumasi fort. Thick stone walls, cannons, and supplies stacked high. They believed they could outlast any rebellion, but Yaa Asantewaa and her warriors had other plans. For weeks, the Ashanti laid siege to the fort. No food, no water, no safe passage for the British. Day after day, warriors surrounded the stronghold, their war cries echoing through the night, their muskets firing at dawn. The British grew weaker, their supplies dwindling. Hunger gnawed at their soldiers, fear gnawed at their hearts. Inside the fort, the governor and his men whispered of doom. One diary reads, "We are besieged on all sides. The Ashanti fire upon us daily. Our situation is desperate." Outside, Yaa Asantewaa's command was unshakable. She rallied warriors, men and women alike, urging them never to surrender. Her spirit was the fortress, her defiance, the weapon. For nearly 3 months, the Ashanti kept the might of the British Empire locked in fear. The world watched in disbelief. How could a people armed with little more than courage pin down the empire that ruled half the globe? It was here, in the Siege of Kumasi, that Yaa Asantewaa's name became legend. The war raged on, but even courage has limits against an empire armed with endless reinforcements. By the end of 1900, the British unleashed their full strength, wave after wave of soldiers, cannons, and burning raids. Villages turned to ashes, families were torn apart, and at the heart of it all, the queen who had defied an empire was finally captured. Yaa Asantewaa, the woman who had stood against Britain, was exiled thousands of miles away to the Seychelles Islands. She would never again see her homeland. Yet even in exile, her name carried power. British officers wrote of her as a dangerous influence, a woman whose very spirit refused to be broken. The Ashanti kingdom was forced into submission, but the British never touched the Golden Stool. They feared it. They knew, even in defeat, the soul of the Ashanti could not be conquered. Exiled, far away from the land she swore to protect. In 1921, Yaa Asantewaa drew her last breath in a foreign land, but death could not silence her, because legends do not die. Her name crossed oceans. Her story fueled whispers in Africa and beyond. The British had won the war, but they lost something far greater. They could not erase her defiance. Today, in Ghana, Yaa Asantewaa is honored as a national hero. Her courage is carved into statues, sung in songs, and taught to every child. She became more than a queen. She became a symbol that even in chains, the spirit of freedom cannot be crushed. Think about it. One woman stood up when thousands hesitated. one queen turned fear into fire, and more than a century later, her voice still echoes. The story of Yaa Asantewaa is more than history. It's a reminder that courage can echo across centuries. One queen, one war, one unbroken spirit. And today, she still asks us all the same question. Will you rise when your people need you? If this story moved you, don't let it end here. Subscribe to History Echoes and join us as we uncover more untold stories of power, resistance, and forgotten empires. Because the past is not gone, it still speaks. You just have to listen.